Hey there, hope you all are doing great. Apologize to those of you that just spent a few minutes trying to figure out what was wrong with the speakers on your device. Turns out I didn't have my microphone set up right in my recording software. So, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about marketing, one of the probably more exciting topics, or at least the topic that a lot of people are very interested in as I talk to folks about the different areas of the business growth framework. For those that don't know me, my name is Paul Cantrell. I'm the head business coach here at the Business Superstars. I have spent over 20 years working with lots of different types of businesses, helping them increase their top line and bottom line through a lot of the topics we're going to talk about today. So my goal here at the Business Superstars is to really help you grow your business and increase your profits. So I'm going to jump in a little bit. If you've not seen any of the prior trainings on the business growth framework, you can go to the Facebook group. There is a link at the top called Guides, and there's a guide that will where I've got the links in the posts for the prior trainings. So if you're watching this live, thanks for joining. And if you haven't seen those, you can watch afterwards. If you're catching the replay and you want to go back and watch the others before this one, that might help create some good context as well. So I'll probably refer back to those a little bit here today. So with that, I want to jump right in here and talk a little bit about the growth framework itself. As you can see here in the Business Superstar logo there, we've got 6 topics: your business purpose, your customers, your marketing, your sales, your operations, and business management. After working with companies for so many years, these are the 6 areas that I've found I can have the biggest impact working with smaller businesses to help them grow their business and, again, increase their profits. With that, I'm going to jump right into marketing itself. You can see some of the topics here that we're going to cover today. Marketing is a topic that you could have a whole day-long session or more going through all of these topics and working on them. My goal for you today is to just, touch on some of these, get you start thinking about them, so you can think about how you can use marketing and improve marketing to grow your business. So the first topic here is around messaging. And this is really, how do you talk to your customers? Most people that I talk to or I look at their websites, they do a great job talking about their business, talking about their products and services and why you should buy them. But as a customer, I don't really see anything that tells me, am I the target market for this person? Do they even understand what I'm going through? And that's really when we talk about messaging. I want you to think about, how are you communicating with your customers? Are you talking to them about their interests and what they're going through? Or are you really just talking about yourself? I see, people refer to, dating, right? If you go on a date with someone, they just talk about themselves the whole time. Probably not going to be a second date. But if they act very interested in you, asking you questions, wanting to confirm, how you feel, you're going to feel a connection there, and might make it to a second date. So it's our job here to make sure that we get that second date, at least with our customers. One way that we do this is by creating what I call here a one-liner. I got this from Donald Miller, who has a company called StoryBrand, and he does an awesome job at kind of helping companies tell their story in a way that connects with clients. This is just a short statement about your business that has 3 parts to it. The first part is, what is the problem you're solving? So really describing to your customer, what is the issue that you're going to help them with? The second part of this is, what is your solution? Something very simple, not very detailed, but this is what I do that's going to solve your problem. Then the third part is really, what is the benefit or result that the customer gets from buying from you? Certainly they're going to overcome the challenge, but how do they feel? And really, what is the result that they hope to get by working with you? If you can clearly articulate these 3 things, you'll really connect a lot more with your customers. So I encourage you to pause the video if you're watching the replay or after the live here to think about this one-liner for your business. Finally, as I mentioned, go take a look at your websites and social media, and I'll talk about those a little bit again later. But look at your messages today and think about, are you really trying to connect with your customers? If you haven't seen the last training on customers, go back and watch that. Really encouraged you then to get a really deep understanding of your customers and what they're feeling and what they're going through. You can really use that information here when you're creating your content to connect with your customers even more. The next part here I want to talk about is, what is your solution that you're providing to your customers? A lot of experts say that the two most important aspects of running a business are innovation and marketing. I feel these two are certainly related, and this part really hits on the innovation part, at least the product and service innovation. Instead of just offering the same thing that everybody else is doing, how can you create something new or deliver it in a new way? And I'll bet the more that you understand your customers, again, as we talked about last week, the more you'll be able to find new ways to serve your customers, new products that no one else is offering. And that's really the innovation that I want you to think about. So look at your current products and services today. You may even find that some of those aren't really serving your customers. They're not really solving the problem that you want to solve. And maybe you'll retire or get rid of some of those. But I really hope that you'll find some new opportunities to provide value to your customers in one way or the other. And that's really going to help you, stand out from your competition and certainly grow your business and profits, as you can charge more for those more differentiated products and services. I also want to talk about your portfolio mix, or optimizing your product portfolio. And the product portfolio just refers to all the different products and services that you can offer to your customer. You may have a whole bunch of things, and you may even confuse your customers by having too many. I heard a commercial on the radio the other day about a roofing company here in Indianapolis, and they were talking about roofing, and then all of a sudden they started talking about this special siding that they offer. I was a little bit confused. All right, is it a roofing company? Is it a siding company? They have a lot of different things they do. At least the messaging in that commercial to me seemed a little bit confusing. So think about, can you simplify that? And also look at the profitability of the different products and services. Are there some things you offer that you don't make much money on, others that are much more profitable? Is there a way you can shift that so that you're doing more of the profitable products or services? Just taking a look at that is going to be a great way to, again, improve your profitability in your business. The last piece here, just talking about voice of the customer interviews. I always have my clients go out and talk to their customers. Once they think they understand what the customers are going through and they think they've got the right products and services to help them, you really need to validate that. No matter how much you think you understand your customers, going out and talking to them is really the best way to validate that. It'll also build your confidence that what you're doing is valuable and is the right thing. So take a look at your current products and services. See if there's some things you can add, some things maybe you need to take away, or maybe you want to shift and do more of one type or sell more of one type of product than the other. Again, this is all part of marketing, which is having the right products and solutions for your customers. The next topic here is around pricing. Again, there's a lot of different strategies and approaches to pricing, but a couple of things I wanted to hit on here today is, don't just think of pricing as an afterthought. A lot of people sell a product, they go look at what a competitor sells it for. If they're new to the market, they'll sell it a little bit cheaper, hoping to get some attention. And it's more of an afterthought. But I really want you to think about your price as part of your overall strategy. Think about your goals for the business and how you present your company. What is your strategy and what is the messaging that you want people to see when they think of your business? Based on that, you need to price accordingly. Obviously, you can't be the top tier, highest quality person, but charge the lowest price. People are not going to believe you, and you're going to lose some trust through that. So there's a lot of times when actually increasing your prices will increase the perceived value that your customers are going to get. Certainly, they're going to maybe have higher expectations of the products and services you provide. But I really want you to think about that price and look at what you're charging today and make sure it makes sense and make sure it's aligned with, again, the way that you're presenting your company to your customers. Again, the more you can communicate your value, all the lessons we've talked to through the customers and the products and the messaging we just covered, the better you can communicate that value, the more you're going to be able to charge. So I don't want you to skip those steps because it's very important in helping justify your prices and what people are willing to pay for your products and services. So that's about it. I think the last part, certainly take advantage of discounts, promotions, bundling products and services together, perhaps offering a discount if people prepay for a whole, season of landscaping versus paying each week. Think of some creative ways that you can use pricing to attract customers. Again, don't just think of pricing as an afterthought that you need to price it like everybody else to be competitive. Get a lot can go into this. I'd love to talk to you more. If you have questions about pricing, we can certainly look at that in your business. All right, the last couple of topics, again, maybe the fun part of this is now that you've created all this great content and messaging, how do you get it out there? Really thinking about, websites, social media, advertising, how do you use that content? Kind of rehashing what I talked about earlier, you really want to make sure that you're making a connection with your customers before you start describing your solution and your benefits. So if you haven't yet, go look at your website. See at the top of it, as if it starts talking about your products, starts talking about your business and how long you've been in business and how great you are. I would encourage you to move that down a little bit in the website. Put some messaging right there at the top to let the customers know that you understand them, you understand their situation, you understand it so well that it's a no-brainer that even if they haven't seen what your products are, they know that you're going to be able to help them. At least they're going to continue reading through your website and hopefully we'll give you a call. Another topic I covered last week was around narrowing your target market or your niche. If you're trying to advertise or market to everybody, your messaging is going to be very general too. And people will probably look at it and think that looks like everybody else. Maybe it's a nice flashy website, but I'm going to probably move on. Whereas if you have a little bit narrower market, you'll be able to talk directly to these folks that all have more common needs. And you'll make that connection a lot quicker. And you'll be able to grab their attention and get them to continue reading your site and hopefully buy from you or reach out to learn more about you and your business. There's also the formula, as you're doing your social media posts, you all get bombarded by these ads and your timelines and your feeds. You only have a couple of seconds to attract their attention. So the whole kind of hook, story, close formula, again, something that Donald Miller from StoryBrand talks about and a lot of others. You really need to say something somewhat provocative, bold, controversial, even to get their attention. Once you got their attention, you've got a short amount of time to perhaps tell a short story to draw them into your content. And then you want to, try to close the deal. Have a very clear call to action. Do you want them to buy directly from that? Do you have a button for them to learn more, to call you, to set up an appointment? You want to make it very easy for them to take that next step to get in touch with you. So these are just some ideas to think about. You can use that in your websites, your social media posts, certainly any advertisements you do, even if it's on the radio or a brochure that you're mailing to people. You still need this same, hook, story, close formula. Just today I got my mail, had lots of brochures from people wanting to, do work at the house and, replace my air conditioner for the summer. I just basically toss them all because they all look the same. They all say the same things. And so really trying to find a way to stand out is going to be important for you. So that's the last topic here today. I hope that you got some new information out of the last 15 or 20 minutes or so that we've been together here. Just before we head out, a couple of other resources. We have a growth assessment where you can go online. You can do this on your phone or your computer. It goes through each of the 6 topics in the business growth framework. It'll allow you to look at some best practices and assess, yes, I'm great at this, or no, I'm not doing this at all, or maybe I'm somewhere in the middle. After going through that assessment, I think you'll have a better understanding of where should you start making some improvements. you're probably doing well in a couple of them and not so well in some others. And after you take that, I'd be glad to have a conversation with you and talk about your results as well and help you figure out, where should you prioritize your time to get started. So that's a great place to get going after you've thought a little bit more about the topics today. Obviously, if you're watching this in the Facebook group, you already know about that. But if you know of anyone else that would benefit from some of this content, invite them to the Facebook group, and we'll let them in and let them get access to all this great information as well. So that's all I had for today. I don't see any comments here. I hope that the sound worked okay with this one, and that the folks are able to follow along. And we will be back next week to cover the next topic, which is around the sales processes. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.